Hello and welcome to Munich Security Conference in our YouTube studio. And I'm very happy that today the Belarusian opposition leader Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya is joining us. How are you?
Hello everyone, but I always doubt how to answer the question, how are you, if it's not like usual politeness, because I really going through difficult times, and it's very often I'm overtired, I'm so sad, I'm communicating with people whose parents or relatives are in jail, and it's so devastating, but there are small victories that inspires me, so it's time difference.
I'll go to a sentence that you said 2020. Maybe you remember this. You said, "I never wanted to do any of these. I was never overly political. I never planned to run for office, but I will never give up." Do you remember when you said this?
Not actually, it was my feelings, and I could tell it in different
situations or places. You said it as a TED talk. And when I listened to what you were saying, and I was wondering now after 2 years, when you look back, what would you have done differently?
It's a big advantage that we can't go in the past and change something, because, it's impossible, and we have to deal with what we have. Mm-hmm. I could say that I would never go for candidacy into president. I wouldn't take this step knowing what happened after this. But I did this, and I saw a historical moment in my country when people woke up, where they believed in themselves, and they found strength to say no to 27 years dictatorship in our country. I'm happy with this, but I could never imagine that I could see such a hell from Belarusian regime towards its own people.
It's interesting when I listen to you say sometimes it's very hard, it's very hell, but at the same time you have inspirational, very strong moments that you live. What's one of the moments you experienced the last 2 years that it's in your heart and you say this is a moment forever?
These were the moments when I saw hundreds of thousands of Belarusians on the streets who believed in themselves, who overstepped their fear and managed to go out to the streets and say, enough. We are fed up with this dictatorship. We want to have better life in better country. We are wonderful, hardworking people, and we know that we deserve a better future. Those pictures from after elections, they will be always in my heart. At the same time, the pictures of tortured people, of blue people that went out from prisons, also, you can't just eliminate these pictures from your mind.
Today, when we look at what you achieved, you are an inspiration for a whole young generation in Belarus. And a lot of them look up to you, see you as a leader, someone who's changing. What do you think? What did you change the last 2 years?
And I'm looking with inspiration on all those young people who inspire me, who every day under such a threat, everyday threat, they are doing small steps towards changes. And it's not me who is changing everything, it's all of us, because any leader is nobody without people around. So we are like inspiring each other. We see how far we can go in our goals, and this unity pushes us forward. And we really achieved a lot. We changed our perception of the situation. We are not ready to live in this country with this government anymore. We really deserve a better future, and we realize this. But what else we achieved is we found a lot of allies among democratic countries. For 27 years, our regime was losing step by step support of the countries, and now we see such a unity of democratic leaders, of parties, of people around us. I always say that Belarus unites. Even people with different views on many different things have a singular opinion about the situation in Belarus, because they understand what we are fighting for, what our aims, what our values.
Well, when you're talking, you say we. Who do you mean with we? Who do you represent today?
I'm presenting here Belarusian people with alternative opinion, and we are, about 80-90% of Belarusian people.
Because there are no official numbers saying how many are pro or how many are supporting or non-supporting. But while you're talking, there's also a lot of hope. Do you still have hope that change will happen the way you want to see Belarus?
It's not about hope. I'm sure that once we will gain what we want. And because I saw Belarusians in 2020. I saw their eyes. I saw their hope at that time. Yes, I understand that we wanted to achieve changes rather fast, but we couldn't do this because of cruelty of the regime. But for more than 1.5 years, people are still fighting. People are still doing everything possible to make the small steps towards our aim, and this is priceless.
In order to understand more what you're going through, what are the challenges in everyday's life for you in order to achieve this change that you want to achieve? What are the challenges?
We see that regime, of course, is cleaning up to the power. They don't want to give up, and they are making lives of people worse and worse every day. They are ready to sacrifice with well-being of Belarusians, with their lives, with their faiths, to stay at the power. So we see a lot of attacks of propaganda on democratic forces, on people in the country. When any person is being detained in Belarus, you feel pain even if you are abroad, because these are your people, these are your active core inside Belarus. So we see how propaganda wants to create this message that democratic forces are split, that we are not a single movement, and we have to prove day after day that, look, we are working together. So many challenges, and for example, at the moment when in this difficult situation between Russia and Ukraine, we see how attention to Belarusian issue is lost somewhere, and our task now is to say, look, we are in the middle of this crisis. Our motherland is given to third party to make these military rallies, to threaten Ukraine, and it's against our national interests. But we're still there, and understand until Lukashenko is in power, he will always be a threat to regional security. And he is creating these problems with the Ryanair flights, with this hybrid attack on Europe. So we have to cure the core of this crisis, and it's the regime.
What is your main concern now when it comes to the Ukrainian-Russian conflict?
That regime is so weak that it would use its weakness to become a threat to our neighbors, Ukraine. We don't want to fight against our neighbors. We are in a wonderful relationship, but regime is weak, and it can be used. This weakness can be used by other countries.
Are you doing active steps, concrete movements to avoid this? Do you have contact to people inside your country? What you're doing to stop this?
Of course, we have communication with people on the ground. Every day I'm communicating with different groups of people, even with people from nomenclatura, from military forces. Mm-hmm. But all those people in the regime, they are also scared. And it's difficult to ask them to be vocal in the situation. But we are building structures on the ground. We use like underground methods of fighting at the moment in Belarus. And look, there are no rallies in our country. People are scared, KGB's raided flats all the time, but regime behaves as if hundreds of thousands of people in front of their palace. We didn't allow regime to turn the page of our history. We don't give opportunity regime to relax and say, we won. No, you didn't. People will never accept this regime anymore, and regime knows this.
You represent your countries and talking with different leaders. You had a talk at the EU Parliament. Are you satisfied with what is done and the support you're having?
Look, I'm really grateful for unity of European countries, of Europe, the USA, United Kingdom, and other democratic countries. But I feel that much more could be done in our situation. Maybe faster, a lot could be done. Because you see, the first important sanctions have been imposed on the regime only in 10 months after crackdown of our rallies. And it's too slow. And now we see that like democratic countries are paying much higher price for non-supporting, non-timely support of democratic movement. So they see the consequences of Ryanair hijacking flight. They have to deal with this hybrid attack, with this migration crisis, building walls, payment for migrants, But if their decisions were faster and stronger at the beginning, it would be much less, they would pay much less price for this.
So now the core questions, why do you think are they not fast enough? Did you talk to them? You're meeting a lot of leaders. What do they tell you? Yeah. What do you talk to them? What did you tell them?
So we see absolute unity about the situation, that yes. Lukashenko lost his election. He is illegitimate. People in Belarus don't want him anymore. Mm-hmm. But usually authoritarian regimes have leverages that democratic countries don't have. They can blackmail, regimes can blackmail, can use people's lives in their purposes. They don't respect international laws, but democracies have to insist on diplomatic language. But we try to convince that dictatorships understand only the language of power. And economic isolation, political isolation is that what threatening the regime.
You have very concrete demands where you always ask for them. You say sanctions against the Lukashenko regime, establishment of free and fair elections in Belarus. How confident are you that these demands will be achieved or you will reach what you want?
Consistency is what is necessary here. I'm often hear that we need strategic patience, but we have patience. We need strategic consistency. If you say something, fulfill what you say. If you say that regime breaks law, that it humiliates people, so you have to make words into actions. So sanction policy is the most impactful policy towards the regime. And I'm sure that when we will work together, when sanctions will be without loopholes. So we will make Lukashenko to understand there is no way out of the situation, only negotiation with people. We now acting not because we want revenge for this regime or whatever. We want to build new, normal country where law prevails, and it can be gained only through negotiations. So our demands are the same: release all political prisoners, stop violence, and hold new, free and fair elections. This is what Belarusians demand.
If we take a concrete example, on the 27th of February, there will be a constitutional referendum done by Lukashenko. How do you look to this date?
In Belarus, people understand, and we open eyes for all the international society that this so-called referendum is illegitimate. Lukashenko doesn't have any right to hold any event. Mm-hmm. And moreover, this referendum doesn't give any choice. People are made to choose between Lukashenko and Lukashenko. People didn't ask for referendum, people are asking for new elections. Of course, we are going to use this opportunity to ask people to participate in this event, to show their attitude to the regime, to say once again no to Lukashenko. We ask people to come to the polling station, to use this right, but to choose all the variants, proposed variants, to make ballot invalid. So of course we understand nobody is going to count this ballot, nobody is going to say real numbers, but it will be an opportunity for people to see each other, to understand that there are a lot of us, and to inspire each other again. And of course there are people who want to boycott this referendum, is their right, and of course we will use alternative counting again to see the real picture. And we ask for international community not to recognize this referendum, and we have full support from democratic countries here.
You also say I'm a politician, but I'm also a mother, and you have 2 children. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you explain to your children what is happening home?
It's a pity that the children of those who had to flee the country, or those who have political prisoner in their family, had to grow up rather fast and have to understand what is dictatorship, what is cruelty, what is lawlessness. Children very good understand that something wrong is going in our country, and very small children explain there is a bad Lukashenko in our country. He put in prison my dad or mother, and people won't get rid of him, mm-hmm. but he's so cruel, he's beaten people. So they explain this in their language, and it's so pity to look at that they are experiencing this.
If you look today in 10 years, let's imagine, where do you want your country to be at?
I know Belarusians. We are a wonderful nation where people are hardworking, very kind, very patient. And in 10 years, I'm sure with wonderful management of new president, we will become a prosperous country where people get good level of lives, where people respect their government, where people respect each other, people are free to travel, and we have wonderful relationship both with West and East, and it's possible. I believe in this.
It's interesting, when you were talking now about what's happening, you were much more optimistic and smiling. So to keep optimistic and smiling, when do you think will you return back to your country?
When you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. I don't know. I really don't know. What I know is that every day I'm working very hard to make this day closer. Because this day will be not only the day of my return to Belarus, it will be the day of releasing thousands of people from jails. people are suffered really enough for their values, and I really hope that it will happen very soon.
Last but not least, you're getting soon the Karls Prize. You will be awarded with the Karls Prize, which is especially for your work for freedom, democracy, and to maintain human rights. What's the core message you will say when you get this award?
This award is not for me. This is the award for Belarusian people. Everybody in Belarus deserves this award, because everyone waste his time, life, for the sake of our future, for the sake of our children. And I'm really grateful for those countries that are giving us different prizes. It means that they believe in us, they understand what we are fighting for, that we share our values, and it's like a step of respect for all those who are sacrificing with themselves to gain changes in Belarus.
Thank you so much for joining us today in our special Munich Security Conference YouTube studio, and enjoy the conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.